Bitcoin is having one of the best starts to a year that it really ever has. And we're getting so many examples across the world of why Bitcoin is actually important. Lots of people would say it's only important to get rich. That's their only goal with Bitcoin. And most of those people will actually end up selling Bitcoin before they get any money because they're only in it for money. But Bitcoin has a much more important role of separating money and state, and we are seeing lots of examples of why that's actually pretty important, like this right here with people in Lebanon setting fire to banks after not being able to access their own savings, now targeting the residence of the president of the Association of Banks. So in Lebanon, they had a big event. Actually, you can see this right here, that the government decided to devalue their currency by 90% earlier this month, February 1st. I think that this happened when the government decided, not the people, not anyone, no vote for this. The government just said money is going down by 90% because they had to pay something or they had to do something with it. So it benefited the government to do whatever they did, but it punished everybody else and off the decision of what, a couple people. And obviously it continued to escalate. They weren't able to access their own money. So not only did the government devalue their money by 90% overnight, so you would go to bed January 31st, and when you woke up February 1st, everything that you've worked for in the entirety of your life, anything that you've saved, got cut by 90%. You had a tenth of the value because someone said so. I would say it's probably not the world's greatest system, right? Especially, for the people who are affected by this, that's not going to be fun at all. And you can see the effects on it here after, Lebanon continued making more changes and continued doing things. You see Bitcoin in Lebanon launched over 1,000% due to the high inflation and the devaluing. And this technology is protecting millions of people from governments stealing the wealth of citizens. And you can see this chart here is basically, obviously it's a normal Bitcoin chart, but it's in Lebanon pounds. Yeah, the Lebanese pound. And it looks like your normal chart, even if you looked at it compared to dollars. But the Lebanese pound got devalued by 90%. Bitcoin skyrocketed up. Bitcoin went up more than what it would have been devalued. So meaning there's demand too for people who want Bitcoin in Lebanon. And it's a situation that a lot of people don't think could happen in the US or Canada or Europe or like a first world country, but it definitely can because there's only a couple people who need to decide just print the money and fund it. And it's not even the only place in the world. It's not like it's just one country. We have Nigeria too, who's had tons of problems over the past few years, and one is their central bank and their money. You can see here Nigerians revolt at the central bank after it declared old currency notes no longer legal tender. In Nigeria, I believe they're going down like the CBDC route. So they're going to digital currencies and central bank digital currencies. Like they have full control over everything, spy on everything, and CBDCs should never be cheered on. It's not something that should actually happen. But Nigeria going down that road, wanting the digital currency to be the thing that everybody uses, just says, you know what? Any old physical currency that you have, if you have physical cash, it's worthless. It's not legal tender. You cannot spend it. So obviously that's a big problem. That is, again, people, just a small group of people, maybe one person in the government or the central bank saying, any money that you have, any physical money, it's worthless because it's not legal tender anymore. You cannot spend it. And that is basically a power that all governments have, all central banks have. If they want to go to CBDCs, they could very easily just outlaw physical cash, say it's not legal tender. And now if you have any physical cash, it's done. It's gone. It's worthless. Doesn't matter. Nigeria also limited what people could withdraw. Like in the earlier days, they limited what people could withdraw in the ATMs. That led to a lot of problems too. And if maybe it's like not in your mind, right? Maybe you just think, I don't even have cash. I only keep money in my bank account. It's only numbers on a screen. It's still, CBDCs are not good. And still being able to control money like this is not good. And no shocker, this led to Nigeria having a premium in Bitcoin price when the Bitcoin is priced around $80,000 in Nigeria for a 60% premium because Bitcoin is hard money. And if you want Bitcoin and there's not enough to go around, there's more demand than supply, which is very easily going to be the case if, governments are doing things like this. Then the price of Bitcoin, the value of it goes up tremendously. And if you're thinking because you live in a first world country, maybe the United States, maybe Canada, in Europe, if you're thinking, I'm in here, I don't have to worry about this, the government would never, ever consider doing anything like this, then there's news for you, because Canada has done stuff like this and is talking about this. And you can see literally here that the Emergencies Act inquiry freezing bank accounts was a powerful tool to discourage participation and to incentivize protesters to leave. So they're literally telling you out loud what their plan is to, if you don't agree with the government, they're just going to freeze your money. And then what are you going to do? What are you going to do? If they freeze your money, you have to do what they say now. You have to agree with the government. You cannot talk bad about the government. You cannot disagree with them. Otherwise, your money's frozen. What are you going to buy groceries with and pay your rent with and live your life with? Nobody knows, but at some point you'll come crawling back and you'll need them to unfreeze it, and you'll just do whatever they say. So I think that's a pretty good example of this isn't a third world country problem. This isn't something that cannot happen in first world or developed nations. It can very easily happen there. We're seeing it in Canada. They're literally telling you, if you disagree with the government, we think it's a pretty good tool to freeze your money until you stop disagreeing. But that's the money side of Bitcoin. Obviously, the asset side, like, separating state from money so that they can't threaten to freeze your bank accounts. They can't threaten to devalue your money. They can't actually devalue it, cut your savings by 90% overnight, or tell you that your money is no longer good enough. It's no longer legal. It's pretty important. But there are good parts to Bitcoin that we've seen too happening. So we don't have to just look at the negative in the world. We can see, obviously, Texas had a big storm, big problem with their electrical grid the other year. And here you can see Bitcoin miners returned enough power to the grid during the snowstorm in December to heat 1.5 million homes. So Bitcoin secures the grid. So the other part of Bitcoin is Bitcoin mining, which secures the network. And that can be used in the real world too, where you can beef up your power grid. You can use it as a way to actually produce more power so that you can have more than what you need. So at times when you need more, you can just turn off the miners and send the power to the grid, and there you go. No more blackouts or brownouts. We saw the big problem in Texas. They solved it with this. We see even problems in California going on with this. It could be solved or at least helped if Bitcoin mining was incentivized there. So Bitcoin is a pretty important thing if you look at it from outside of just getting rich. I know a lot of people take that perception and run with that and say the only reason that they're in Bitcoin is to get rich. It's going to go to this and that. When the real reason is that you should be in Bitcoin is to do things that are fundamentally like what Bitcoin's about: separating state and money, making sure that no one controls the currency, so no one can devalue you, no one can lock you out. Those are important things. Getting rich can be a side effect, but that can also take decades, centuries. It's not like you're going to get that next year. Bitcoin's going to be $10 million. You're going to be rich and you're going to be great. But that's going to do it for this video. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next video.